to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing one of their past projects. We will let you decide if it was good or bad or just plain ugly. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is the importance of using good comps. When it comes to investing in real estate, one of the most crucial factors in accurately determining the value of a property is using good comps, also known as comparable sales. Good comps refer to recently sold properties in the same neighborhood with similar characteristics to the property you're interested in. Here are 3 reasons why relying on good comps is vital for your success as a real estate investor. Number 1, objective valuation. Good comps provide an unbiased benchmark to assess a property's value, helping you avoid emotional decisions and accurately determining its market worth. Number 2, risk mitigation. Utilizing reliable comps reduces the risk of overpaying for a property or setting an unrealistic selling price, safeguarding your investment and maximizing potential returns. Number 3, investment strategy. Comps help you identify potential fix and flip or buy and hold opportunities. By analyzing the differences in pricing between distressed properties and those in better condition, you can determine the reliability of your investment strategy. Remember, not all comps are created equal. Choose recent sales in the same neighborhood or similar areas with comparable features like size, layout, age, and amenities. Aim for at least 3 to 5 comps to establish a predictable valuation range. So, by mastering the art of using good comps, you'll be well equipped to make confident and successful real estate investment decisions. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us my friend, Joe Cohen. Joe has extensive knowledge and background in the real estate and mortgage industry. With a focus and passion in real estate, he received his real estate license in 2002 and became a top performing agent and loan specialist for IndyMac Bank and Countrywide. He then managed to own successful mortgage brokerage firm from 2006 through 2008. He is also licensed in property and casualty, life and health insurance, and has directed his own insurance agency before joining a large insurance company for 8 years as the business development and sales manager. While there, he built valuable relationships, and through strategic planning and leadership, he was able to grow the agency. Joe was then recruited as a marketing field representative for the 2nd largest earthquake insurance provider in California. In addition to all of that, Joe is one of our rockstar students at Homeschooled by Tarek El Moussa and will be featured on an episode of Flipping 101 with Tarek himself. Today, he's going to share one of his past projects. So let's get this party. Welcome to the show, Joe Cohen.
Hey. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're at.
I had no idea you were in the health and life insurance industry as well.
Yeah, it was one of those things when I first started in the insurance industry. I wanted to get my all my licenses so that way I could provide solutions based on any of my clients' needs.
So smart. I actually worked for about 30 seconds for Aflac, and then I quickly climbed the corporate ladder. I was working in Aetna by the time I ended up leaving it and doing large group sales, but Just those tests and getting all the license. That's why I'm not a realtor today, because I did not want to take another damn test, because those are beasts. Am I right?
Totally. But the thing is as soon as I got my license, I was like, I'm never letting this go because it was so hard to pass.
It was.
The life and health license it took me 3 times to pass that test. But once I got it, I'm like, I'm never letting it go. And I don't let any of my licenses go because, I don't have a degree. So those are my degrees.
Very, very smart. I actually remember taking the life insurance test, and there was an ice storm. So I was literally risking my life to go take the life insurance test. So anyway,
yeah, seriously, you were. You definitely shouldn't have let that go.
Yes. So, and before we get into real estate, I love the story about how you met your wife, because I too met my husband on an online dating app. So tell me this story. You guys met on the online dating app, but what did you find out about each other?
Oh yeah, it was a amazing story because Match.com at that time in that era was like brand new. There was still like commercials promoting it, and you can find your next life partner on on the web, and nobody really trusted it at that time, and so you were kind of just looking at pictures hoping they were real, and you're not getting catfished or something like that. So long story short, I started talking to her through AOL online chat. Look at that, dating myself again.
I'm going to cut you off for a second. I started when it was Love at AOL, and it was free. And then Match.com bought Love at AOL. So I'm telling you, a girl's got to eat. That was the greatest thing back in the day when I was single, was Match.com. I'm like, ooh, where am I going this weekend? So I'm sorry I cut you off. So,
no, it was a great tool.
Yes, it was.
Sure. It also wasn't the way it is now, where it's like, an
swipe
STD
left
waiting to happen.
Yeah, I didn't have those. No.
But come to find out, as we're talking, we ended up going to the same high school, living on virtually the same street, never really knowing each other. I was kind of a geek, and this surfer dude hung out in the wrong crowd, so to speak. So she was a popular girl and probably would never even looked at me during high school years, but we reconnected through that, and it was amazing because we knew a lot of the same people, and then we started going down the reminiscing of where we used to live. And one thing led to another. Here we are. We just celebrated our 18th wedding anniversary, and we've been together for 20 years.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And I absolutely love that story. So thank you for sharing that. I don't have anything as exciting when I met Vance, my husband. But we too met on Match.com. So
awesome.
Go Match.com.
All right. Should be a commercial.
Exactly. I only had to report one guy, and he was like nuts. And I was like, listen, I have been on this thing for many years, and this guy needs to be removed. So
oh yeah.
I know. Scary.
You gotta be careful.
Anyway, I love that story. So thank you for taking time to share that. But we are going to talk about one of your past projects. But before we get into that, how did you get involved with flipping? I mean, you have your background as an agent. I know you're a rock star agent. You are with EXP, correct?
Correct.
So with Tarek?
Actually, I'm under the agency organization, correct.
Nice.
I started my own team and quickly grew that team. And recently we merged with a top 2% team in EXP to help us scale our efforts. So super exciting times coming ahead. And really, I was always more of like the traditional real estate. I focused a lot of my career in my early real estate years in loans and mortgages. And when that dried up in 2008, I needed to go out and figure out something else. And that's where insurance came along. But all the time while I was doing insurance, I was buying my own real estate, building my own portfolio, helping other people in my circle buy their real estate, sell their real estate, things like that. So the thing that came along to me, and it was really during the COVID era, I just kind of got bored with where we were at and started looking into more opportunities to earn income And, went down the YouTube rabbit hole. And next thing you know, I'm in the algorithm and Tarek's face is popping up and saying, "Hey, you want to learn how to fix and flip?" And I was like, "Yeah, I really do." And I'm like everybody else, right, Jen? You're sitting on the couch watching HGTV. You see them doing it, and you're like, "I can do that. I have my real estate license. It doesn't look that hard, boy." Boy, yeah, you don't know all that's behind the scenes in going and acquiring those properties. So it was definitely a learning lesson for me as I've been going along this journey.
Absolutely. And explain why it's important to invest in yourself and get educated and pay for a program like this.
It's very important because, the immediate thought is I can do this myself, right? And then you're going to go get yourself into trouble really quickly. It's funny because the property that we're talking about today was really some of that mentality. Even though I was coached, I was very, assertive in trying to obtain this property because I knew it was coming and it was an opportunity to be on a TV show. So I really wanted to get the deal. I really wanted to get into the opportunity, but coaching to get me to that point was so imperative because I wasn't a real, a person that was kind of like an innovator. I have these ideas, I have these, thoughts and visions and goals. So some people would classify me as probably like a visionary.
Okay.
And then when I came into the program, I realized all that I was lacking as a business professional, because there's a foundation, just like when you're building a house, that you have to lay before you start transacting and doing deals.
Absolutely.
So huge part of coaching for me.
Huge. And that involves getting an LLC. It involves knowing the right documentation when you are working with contractors. You want to get all these contracts signed. It's just endless items and ways to protect yourself as well. So thank you for saying all that. I'm always, looking to sneak that in, the importance of getting educated, because I too did an education program. I also was a late night TV show. I'm like, what is this? And dragged my husband to a 2-hour event. And then we did the 3-day event. And I was like, oh, we're not paying for this. We're just going to get everything we can out of the 3 days. And by the end, I was like, take my money. So yeah. Yes, agreed. And have you made your money back from your education program?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, exactly. That's the pain point for so many people, because they're like, I don't want to spend this much money. And then a year from now, you're going to be in the same damn place because you didn't invest in yourself. So anyway, thanks for letting me get that in there.
That's a great point.
Huge point. And a lot of the listeners here, I cannot just enforce that enough, how important it is to invest in yourself and have a coach on your side. So let's dive into this property. This is a very structured podcast, and you have a vodcast, which is very badass. By the way, every time I go to watch one of yours and it shakes first, it always catches me off guard, because you have a really cool video, editing program, I guess. And
it's called the Lightning Edit.
Lightning Edit. Oh, see, you're teaching me stuff. So I am not as good with the whole video thing, but I'm working on it. But you are amazing. So we're going to talk about your show at a little later on. But
awesome.
Yes. So this one's very structured. We're going to start with the property description. So tell me about it. How many beds and baths? When was it built? Anything special about the property? What drew you to this property?
Yeah, so this home was in a very, very up and coming area, I like to call it. We in California specifically, there's not many markets that are under $700,000 in value. So what my thought was, let's go to the areas where we can find those homes that are under 700,000. Actually, we try to get homes in that area specifically under $400,000. So it's a home that's in an area where there's a lot of gentrification going on. Okay. There's a lot of economy that's being built around the area. And so my thought was, let's get some, homes that are updated in that area and focus our efforts in there. The home is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house built in 1923.
Wow.
So it's seen the good times and the bad times, for sure. It's funny because my grandfather is 95 years old, and he told me when I bought that house that my great grandfather owned a grocery store on the Central Avenue and Compton Boulevard. So it was like literally catty corner to my grandfather's old grocery store. It was interesting. It's just funny how the universe attracts you to certain areas, right?
Absolutely.
So we felt that this property was going to have a lot of opportunity for us. Ultimately it came down to how we acquired the property. There was actually, a wholesaler that had brought the property to us with a sticky situation in it. There was a squatter inside, and he was not friendly at all. Yeah, so it was one of those things where we had to navigate the property acquisition through taking the property on with the squatter inside it. So yeah, big deal there.
Oh my goodness. I have an episode. It's my neighbor now, my friend Stephanie Anson, and she bought a property and there are squatters in it. And it was such a pain in the ass. And we're in North Carolina where we are very landlord friendly. California, not so.
Not so much.
Oh my goodness. All right. I definitely want to hear about the squatter, but how did you find this property? You said it was from a wholesaler. And by the way, let's just quickly explain how wholesaling works. A person can go out there, get a property under contract, and then assign that contract to you. I work with wholesalers all the time. They are hustlers. They can go out there and really, negotiate that price down so that they make a little bit of a profit, and then, I will buy it from them. So working with wholesalers is a great way to get some projects. There's a couple companies to stay away from, which I can't say on the show, but
yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
it rhymes with Sprue Breastern. I said that horrible. That was awful. Anyway, newbies, watch out for that company. All right, Joe. So, you found it from a wholesaler. I'm sorry. And then what was the asking price? And then what did you end up paying for it?
So they were asking for $410,000 and we ended up paying $410,000.
Okay. And I mean, the numbers made sense though.
At that point, the numbers made sense.
And that's another thing is I work with students all the time who are like, well, they just want to keep negotiating down. I'm like, listen, if the numbers make sense, why does it matter? That person busted their ass to get that property under contract, so that I feel give them what they deserve, So anyway, that's my little 2 cents on that. So you got it for $410,000. And what was the estimated ARV at time of purchase?
We were looking at comps around $585,000.
Okay. And what were the estimated repairs at time of purchase?
So that was the difficult part because of the squatter inside the property. We weren't able to do our due diligence, and we really didn't know. So we kind of went in with a light budget because we were like, well, it's 989 square feet. What could go wrong, right? We can go in and put new paint, new flooring, new kitchen, new bathroom. It's 1 bathroom. So we're like, hey, we could get in and out of this thing for probably under $60,000.
Okay.
So we tried to start with a $60,000 budget.
And how did you finance this property?
We used hard money lending to finance this property, especially because of the fact that we had the squatter in the property. We couldn't get an appraiser in the property. So we had to find a lender that was willing to take the property on without doing a formal appraisal. They just did a desktop broker opinion.
This is making me sweat.
I know. It's just stacking on top, right, Jen?
Oh my goodness. All right. So what was your estimated timeline?
We were hoping to get the squatter out within like 90 days. And get the property fixed up within, at least, 3 months and sold by, the end of 6 months.
Okay.
So we were only expecting to hold it for 6 months.
All right. So here's where I want to hear all about it. Any surprises, Joe, while flipping this property?
So many surprises. Once we actually got the squatter out, it took us 5 months to get him out. Yeah. So the state of California is not landlord friendly, especially during COVID. You know, this property was acquired in 2022, but a lot of those
Forbearance.
eviction moratoriums carried through until late 2022. So the cards were in the squatter's favor, and we had to go to court. We had to file evictions. We had to wait for the court system to approve the eviction, which we won every step of the way. Unfortunately, it just was backed up from all of things that were going on. At that point, once we got into the home, that's when all the issues started unfolding. First and foremost, the squatter wasn't happy about being removed from the home.
Well, and I got to cut you off here for a second, because you're talking about landlord rights and tenant rights. Was this person renting from the previous owner, or did they literally like climb in through a window and say, "This is put a flag in the ground. This is my home now"?
So his grandfather owned the property.
Okay.
And the property was sold through probate, and he felt he had, rights to the property because he was a blood relative.
Got it. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. So takes 5 months to actually get him out, and you are paying how much a month of interest to your hard money lender?
Oh, at that point it was, I think we were paying about $3,700 a month.
Gosh. Yeah. All right. So I had cut you off before. The squatter was not happy to leave. So what did he do to the I'm afraid to ask.
So the squatter got back in while we were waiting to get the contractors to come in and start demo. And he got back in and he cut a bunch of water lines and he spray painted all over the place. And, there was, a lot of vandalism that came out of that, incident. And so we ended up having to go through insurance to achieve more, reimbursement, so to speak, to get some of the damages, repaired. So from that, it opened up another can of worms, because we had to do mold, asbestos, lead paint testing, all of those things. And then as we were doing those inspections, we started inspecting the foundation and found out that the foundation needed to be completely redone. So it was definitely one of those things where you open up the floors and all of a sudden, there's dry rot in all the frame. You open up the drywall, you could see the termite damage and the water damage had seeped through the walls. So we ended up having to rebuild this home virtually from the inside out.
Oh my goodness. And how did it go with contractors? Did you have a great team working for you?
There's another situation. So we
I'm sorry for laughing. It's just,
it's good, because I love talking about this and letting people know all of the things that can happen during a transaction. Not everything is just quick and easy in and out. And I don't think enough of our people in our industry talk about this stuff.
Right.
They only show the paychecks, if you notice, on social media. They only show the wins on social media. They're not talking about what it took to get to those wins, right?
Yes.
Because not every flip is a positive cash flow situation. So we actually ended up, getting into a situation where we're over budget just by getting into the property. And then we got a contractor that said that he was going to have project managers on the site. And in reality, he put a light crew on the site because of the budget constraints. So he basically made an excuse to say, "Hey, I'm not getting paid as much as I would like to, so I'm going to put my C crew on the site." which then as time went on and I started taking over project management and walking through everything, I'm like, hey, these guys are moving at snail's pace. They're milking the clock. I'd like to see what they're spending my budget on. And he ended up providing me the receipts. And I'll tell you right now, there was tools being bought on the budget. There was ladders, household toilet paper, food. I mean, I was like, I didn't know, Home Depot hot dogs were part of the budget, right? So I was just, basically mortified at what he was allowing to happen.
Wow.
And
oh my gosh.
At a certain point, we were like, 75% through the budget, but we were only still, 45 to 40% away through the project.
Right.
So it was interesting times.
Oh my goodness. So anything else happened during renovations?
So we ended up having to fire one crew and bring in a different crew that got it to the finish line. So once we got it to the finish line, there was some things that we made decisions on from a budget constraint situation that probably ended up costing us more money in the long run. So if another lesson learned, if you think it's going to cost you more money today, it'll probably cost you more money down the line.
So true.
Just do it. Just do it now, right?
So I'm gonna just translate this to don't cut corners, because I have walked into so many flips by some rookies, and you can just see how they cut corners, and then it's going to be a much larger headache in the end. So very good lesson there, Joe. Thank you for sharing that. So, all right. So by the way, how did you find the second crew?
Through the same contractor, general contractor, we had a come to Jesus moment, and I said, "Hey, I need to get this thing to the finish line. Let's bring in the A team now." And so I ended up having to pay more for that A team. But then in addition to that, because we're still on a limited budget, there was just some miscommunication breakdowns, and we had a funky kitchen layout. We had instead of doing sod, we did, mulch in the backyard. And then rather than, making the extra spend for concrete, because in the area that we were in, there was very limited parking. It was a very narrow street, it's almost similar to the one ways. But you can only park on one side of the street, and it would have been much more appealing if we had just created a 3-car driveway. Right. So after everything's said and done, and we were on the market for about 45 days and we didn't get any offers, we actually made the decision to go back under construction, fix the kitchen layout, put in the sod in the backyard, and then add the concrete for the 3-car driveway.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And I always say, use the comps in the area, because we had a house that we flipped, and all the other houses it sold for just shy of $1 million, and none of them had garages. So I'm like, if I'm buying $1 million house, I'm parking my car in the damn garage. And they all also had gravel driveways. So I said, we don't want to outprice, people here, but yeah, in that type of situation where you only have street parking, that's a really good decision to make. And by the way, did you add another bathroom? Because there's a 3-1.
We did not add another bathroom because we didn't want to have the city come out and delay us anymore, right? I mean, if we do like for like, we could go in, get everything done. They just check the boxes and we move on.
Well, I mean, and that's a learning lesson right there too. I mean, that can really hold you up as, waiting for the city to do things. I mean, you got a squatter in there and then having to do that. So I do think that was a very smart decision. So, all right, your original timeline was hoping to get this guy out in 90 days. He instead took him 5 months to get him out. And then you were budgeting for about 3 months of rehab time.
Yeah.
What was your actual rehab time?
So we started in October of October of 2022, and we finished the first round of construction in February of 2023.
Well, that's not
So
bad.
that wasn't that bad. But then, we went on market for 45 days, didn't get any offers. So then we went back on hold and then did about another 30 days of construction to get the, final repairs done. So all in all, about 4 months of construction.
Okay, that is not bad at all. Good for you for that, because that's one of the biggest struggles we have is keep sticking to a timeline. And time is money, and that's been one of our issues when flipping houses is it takes a hell of a lot longer than we thought. So the you have it renovated, you as an agent, because you listed it and then you took it off to, clean up some things. As an agent, if you see a property that's sitting a little bit longer, I tell people you always want to, what am I trying to say? Furnish it, stage it.
Stage it, yeah.
I always tell people you want to stage your properties. You want to evoke that emotion. You want people to walk in because you really get like one chance. So do you think it kind of tarnished the listing by having it on, then taking it off? Did you have any issues with that?
I didn't. I think it didn't tarnish it. It actually created a little bit more buzz. So it ended up, creating more showing activity as a result of when we came back on market. Yeah.
Very well said. That's excellent. I mean, because there are people who price it too high. Then they start lowering, and then it takes forever, and it gets that whole tarnish thing. So that is excellent. I like that you said that. So, all right, let's start breaking down some final numbers here.
Yeah.
How long was it on market, not including the first 45 days, the second round?
So combined days on market was 71 days.
Okay.
So if you do the math, it was, roughly about, was that 71 minus 45. So, 31 days on the market.
Which is very normal. So excellent. And you originally had an ARV of 585. So what did you end up listing it for?
So we started at 635 because we saw some comps that had, sold for that. The difference is they were on bigger lots and they were on less busy streets. So when we actually, started at that price, we had to come down really quickly to start getting some more activity. And so we ended up relisting when we came back on market at 595.
Okay. And that also includes people who are like 600 and under. So when you're just over, that's why I know Tark likes to do, 699.9 and be right up there at the top, because you capture those people that have a, ceiling for the budget that they have. So
exactly. So it's a good idea to, get yourself in the vision of those people who are in that price range, right? Because if you list it just under 700,000 or just under 600,000, like at 599, 999, you now open up the field to more eyeballs.
Very good. All right. So your estimated repairs at time of purchase was 60. I'm already laughing. Was 60,000. What did you end up paying your actual repairs?
$140,000.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need a drink.
I know.
Joe, goodness.
I know it.
All right. And
it's a fun one.
Whoo! We know what level this one's going to be. And the interest, do you remember what the interest was you paid to your hard money lender?
Yeah, we paid a total of $37,000 in interest.
Okay. And holding costs, all that fun stuff, commissions, closing costs. Let's just get to the nitty gritty here. So what did you end up selling it for?
Yeah, so we ended up selling it for 580 after everything's said and done. So right around the original ARV that we had thought.
All right. Here's the drum roll. That I have no drum roll. I should probably add this sound. I have all the other sounds,
you should have a keyboard that has that.
What was your total profit?
We are at a deficit of $40,000 on this property. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Joe. Did you give up completely and stop flipping houses?
No,
So why
absolutely
not?
not.
Why not?
Well, this property gave us so many opportunities. It wasn't just the opportunity to earn money. It was an opportunity to learn. It was an opportunity to get on a television show with Tariq El Moussa, a national TV show, right? There was a lot of lessons learned that actually made us better for our next projects. We know what not to do. We know what to do. And then, of course, we got some exposure as a result of it.
So smart, Joe. Great job. Having completed this project, what are some of the things that you now incorporate every time you buy a new property?
Due diligence. At the time, the market was crazy when we were buying this property. It was almost like you got into the rat race. You're basically. Have you ever seen a current, in a river?
Yes.
Right. It's like a bag, just fast, right? So if you want to get into that river, you either have to go with the current, or you have to, run up to the very top of wherever the entry point is, and then, float your way down, right?
Right.
Well, that's going against the grain if you do it that way. Although it being the smarter route to take, we jumped right in, right? And so we ended up getting this property probably in a time where it's at the height of the market, right? We're in a situation in the marketplace where a lot of people were removing their contingencies right off the bat and saying, hey, I'll take it for whatever it's worth because I know it's going to grow in 20% in value over the time that I'm holding it. So it doesn't matter about the due diligence. That is absolutely not the case. Due diligence is so crucial, not just from a standpoint of, I can ask for a seller credit, right? But from a standpoint of, you make all your money in the buy of the property.
Yes.
Right. And in the whole time and in the construction. Right. So if you have an opportunity to go back and say, oh, hey, there's foundation issues in this house that I wasn't planning on in my original budget, that's going to be a $30,000 ticket for me. I need that off of the price.
You can go back and renegotiate the price with that wholesaler. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Super smart. And
if they don't renegotiate, then it's not a deal and you don't need to take that deal down.
And I want to talk quickly about California because I have students in California and they're like, oh, I can't flip here. And I'm like, are you telling me nobody's flipping in California? Do you not watch the TV shows? And how hard was it for you to find a lender for these high ticket properties?
Oh, it was pretty easy for me to find a lender. I mean, I had already had, 3 lenders tell me that they wanted to do the deal, but once we found out that we couldn't do an appraisal, that's when they backed out.
Got it.
So when I found a lender that actually, how I found the lender? The wholesaler who closed on the property before me was using a hard money lender to do the double close. And I just called that lender and said, hey, you already own this property.
That's genius, Joe. That is awesome. Very, very smart. And the reason why I bring this up is because they want to look at these lower priced properties. You can buy in, the sticks in North Carolina, get a property for $30,000, but your return on investment is going to be $30,000, max. So by doing these higher end properties, you get a much higher return as well. And in most cases. So
most cases, yeah.
Yes. So what was your biggest takeaway from completing this project?
My biggest takeaway from completing this project was really just a matter of being more strict on the negotiation end of the deal. And that really has helped us in our next projects going forward, right? Also, being really on top of your rehab budget, because again, all your money is lost or won in the buy and in the construction.
Right.
And if you don't have that budget, you're going to have to go find that budget from somewhere, which thankfully, I was able to capitalize my business in the form of lines of credit through business credit cards. And it allowed me to use those credit cards to get to the next level on the budget.
So very smart. Are you still working with that same construction team?
No. Yeah, we had parting of ways. Yeah.
Got it. And how are you finding your contractors? Because that's always a big question that a lot of listeners have is, how do I find people to do it?
So I belong to a large network of real estate rehab specialists. And I'm always in networking meetings on a monthly or sometimes even weekly, depending on the time. And I truly believe your net worth is as big as your network. If you go to these meetings and they're already doing the work, you can ask them to see if they're open to us using that same contractor. And I'll tell you, no contractor is going to turn business away, but you have to tread lightly. Obviously, they're building a team too, and they have consistent projects going on to keep those contractors busy. But if they're a large enough firm, you can use them for your projects as well. So word of mouth is a big factor for me. And then, of course, I've been in the industry for a very long time. I've been around for a while now. So a lot of people seek me out.
That is awesome. And I just second what you said about using your network. My greatest contractors that we have on our team have come from other real estate investors. And when they do a good job for me, like we have these framers that I love, 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 and I will pimp them out to every other real estate investor I can, because by keeping them busy, they keep their prices down too. You don't want to go on the Google and say, or Angie's List, because they are paying to be for that marketing to be on there. So they have that overhead that they have to cover as well. When you're passing them around from investor to investor, they keep their prices down and they're awesome. And some of the best tradesmen I've ever met. So thank you, Joe.
They also understand the flow. They also understand the flow of the projects.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
They know that you're holding it for a certain period of time and you need to get the job done as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then they keep moving forward with you.
And we provide a scope of work. When you are working with retail clients, the Susan down the street doesn't know what exactly yellow she wants her bathroom painted or this or that. So there's a lot more work involved with those contractors where I'm saying, I want Sherwin-Williams alpaca, number blah, 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 and this tile here, and we've purchased it and it's ready to go, and boom. So and then they don't have to cover furniture. You absolutely want to make sure that you are using your other investor friends and build that network and to share contractors. So Joe, thank you so much for sharing this, and what a great project. Have you flipped more property since then?
Yeah, we're working on, we have actually 3 projects flipped after that project. So we have another 2 projects that are now on the market and ready to make someone a very lovely family home.
Very, very nice. And I'm sure you have had a lot more success since that first one. So thank you for sharing that. The second part of the podcast is what makes you a badass, which you are. And I use the acronym BADASS. And the first letter is B for book. What's a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Oh, the book that's made a huge difference in my life. And I'm still reading it right now. But, Second Chance, for Your Money, Your Life, and Our World by Robert Kiyosaki.
I don't know this one. Really?
Yeah.
Well, I love Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I did the quarter, what is it? Where he talks about the quotient. What am I trying to say?
I think that's, you hit it. Yeah. It's the quotient. Yeah.
Is it that book or is it a different one?
No, this is a completely different book.
Okay, because I did not like that second one. I was like, where's the fun story again? So, well, good. I'm glad he came out with another one. Excellent. I got to check it out. One more time, what's the title of it?
It's Second Chance for Your Money, Your Life, and Our World by Robert Kiyosaki.
I love it. I'm going to have to check that one out. All right.
You should. It's really mind-blowing.
Oh, good. I love that. All right. The first A in badass is for advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, goodness. I'm a big believer in the power of thought. and another book that I read, which is probably, it's actually world renowned, is, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And so that piece of advice was whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
Yes.
We are all in a world where the media and social media are, basically brainwashing us to believe a certain way. And your mind can actually overcome any, thing that you are in right now. I also have a saying that, and a belief that every type of friction or every type of, uphill battle that you're going through, on the other side of that hill is greatness.
Yes. Ah, Joe. See, I liked you before. I like you even more now. So, and by the way, I got to bring this up. I have a video that I'm talking to Tarek, and we're going back and forth. And at the very end, I left the camera right in the middle, and you're just like, "Hi," and I left that in there on purpose. I love it. So it's just great to learn more and more about you, Joe. So thank you for that. All right.
Thank you.
The D in badass is for drive. What drives you to be successful?
Well, I have a genetic disease called polycystic kidney disease.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that I have a disease, but I do have a genetic disease. But what drives me is to be financially free, so that way, if I'm ever ailing from this disease, which I don't think I am going to, I'm actually going to beat it and eliminate it out of my system altogether. But if I ever am, I want my wife to not have to take care of me in that way. So I want to be financially free for that. And that really is my why, is to make sure that I'm financially capable of bringing in help if I ever succumb to this disease.
Wow. And I saw in your bio, you donate to, or you raise money actively for, it's a surfing something, and then something else with what I guess you were just talking about. So give a shout out to those organizations. Yeah.
So surfershealing.org is a very great organization that helps autistic children and children with special needs connect with their family through surfing.
Wow.
And I'm an avid waterman. I surf, I fish, I dive, I do it all. And we help these kids break out of their world for just a few moments and give their parents a glimpse of what it's like to be in the ocean and surfing. So there's a lot of endorphins that are released when you're in the water and surfing, and it's truly evident on what happens when we make that connection with these families. In addition to that, the Polycystic Kidney Disease Foundation, we do annual walks and fundraisers and charities, so that way we can make an impact on people's lives through medical advancements. And there is medical advancements out there now because of this foundation. I'm on a drug that is approved by the FDA that's actually slowing the progression of this disease.
Wow.
And that's 4.5, 5 years ago. There was no cure. There was no opportunity for a cure for this disease, and now we're getting there. So the PKD Foundation is an amazing foundation.
You are amazing. I am so impressed with you, Joe. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Whew. The second A in badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
Well, one of the goals that I'm working on right now is getting myself up personally to a 24 transaction a year volume. And then I'd like to get my real estate team up to 100 transactions per year.
Wow. So what do those 24 transactions look like? Are they wholesales? Are they flips, buy and holds? What are you looking for?
It's going to be a mix of everything. Right now we have, 5 flips that are complete, and we're now working on ramping up our wholesaling division. We've put ourselves in the position to have a partner that will help us do double close. So then that way we're able to get those properties under a good margin and sell them to some other people in our network. And then, of course, the traditional side of real estate, right? We want to help buyers and sellers alike. With the knowledge that we have now as real estate investors, we're teaching our first-time home buyers to think like an investor. So we're using creative ways of financing like FHA, Federal Housing Administration loans, 203K, 203B loans. Those are actually loans that you can get in with low down payment, 3.5%, and they'll fund your rehab for you. Cool thing about that loan is that it doesn't require you to make a payment for up to 6 months before you move into the property.
I love that. Damn, Joe. Gosh.
So you can do a house hack with an FHA loan.
Well, this also helps me to understand more why you have a show yourself, and it is called The Inspired Show. And I'm sure, because you are inspiring me, give a quick shout out about your show that you have. And it's going to eventually be more podcasts, but right now it's on YouTube, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're going to be out on all the podcast media sites soon. We're at episode 9 right now on YouTube. So if you're out on YouTube, you can go to The Inspired Show and you'll be able to see all 9 episodes. And then, of course, we're on all of the social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all of those sites at The Inspired Show. And then, our goal on The Inspired Show is to help people overcome, achieve, and grow. We really want to inspire people to perform at their highest level. So we talk a lot about mindset. We talk a lot about things that we're doing as we're going along in this real estate journey or entrepreneurship journey, really. Our latest episode is with the Girl Flipper, where
I saw that one.
Yeah, she is an amazing woman, and she's empowering all women to go out there and be badasses as well.
I love it. And Joe, you are inspiring me, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners listening are going to go check it out immediately. The Inspired Show, check it out on YouTube, and you are just loaded with some great nuggets on that and just really help so many people. So thank you for that as well. All right. Awesome. The first S is for systems. Running a business can be so tough. So what are systems you have in place to help you achieve success?
Yeah, so we just recently merged. As I said, I was built my own team at eXp Realty underneath the agency. It was called the Cohen Property Group. And there was a point in time where I was like, in order for me to scale this, I'm going to have to start either spending a serious amount of money on systems, or I can go join or merge my team. I shouldn't say join a team, merge my team with a top performing team that already has those systems in place. And so Rock Real Estate Partners it has expanded into Orange County, and we have this CRM that is basically all in one. It's dialer, it's lead management system, and nurture system, all right at your fingertips. It's really cool. It's connected to the MLS as well, so you could set people up on listing alerts and all of that kind of stuff like that. And then, of course, we use Deal Finder, and we have virtual assistants that are making outbound calls for us. We're really, truly running like a well-oiled machine. So super exciting. And we want to be able to attract other real estate professionals that come on, so then that way they can, scale their business as well.
That is fantastic. And using virtual assistants, it's great. It's a great automation to get those leads coming in as well. And I love me some Deal Finder. I'm glad you gave them a shout out. Deal Finder, the main company above them is called RealFlow. And I actually have a link on my website. If you don't have access to Deal Finder through Homeschooled by Tarek, you can go to my website and sign up for RealFlow, which is a phenomenal tool. So thank you for bringing that up. All right, to wrap this up, Joe, this has been amazing. I'm like, this should be like 30, 35 minutes. We are close to an hour here because I am just loving talking to you. But to wrap this up, the final S in badass is for success. What does success mean to Joe Cohen?
Success to me really means that I'm going to be able to be live a life of philanthropy. I want to serve others. I think that the more I serve, the more wealth and abundance that I'll have in my life. So that really is a big factor for me. I want to help the world see that God meant for us all to be financially wealthy. So that's kind of my vision of success.
Well, Joe, the sky is the limit for you. I'm so impressed with you. And how can the listeners find you on, say, social media?
Well, very simply, at Joe Cohen Inspires. If you look that up, you're going to find me everywhere.
Well, perfect. Joe, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited that you finally invited me.
Well, thank you. And that is all. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Now, go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.